In 2012, Jonnie Peacock won gold for Great Britain at the Paralympic Games in London.
I was only 19. It was my first Paralympic Games. The noise of that crowd was incredible. That was one of the best days of my life.
At the age of 5, Jonnie contracted the most dangerous form of meningitis, causing severe blood poisoning.
Rushed straight into A&E. They pulled my mum and dad aside and said, look, there's a good chance you probably won't be taking him home. Luckily, as the days passed, things got better, but unfortunately, even though I was getting better, my foot was dying.
Jonnie's right leg was amputated below the knee.
My parents did the best thing, and they didn't want to wrap me up in bubble wrap. It never stopped me doing anything, to be honest with you. I think the second that I learned to walk, I wanted to run again.
Jonnie originally wanted to be a footballer.
Yeah, I was football mad. I remember taking a penalty, and the leg went one way, and the ball went the other. I think I scored the goal, though, so it was worth it. Mum's dad, my granddad, I never got to meet, because he died in the year that my mum was pregnant with me. He was quite a sporty chap himself, played a lot of football. Mum tells me he's stubborn. I've been told I can be stubborn sometimes. So I'm really interested to find out more about him.
Slow down, but leave me more open.
My mum and dad split up when I was quite young, you know, before I lost my leg. My dad's side of the family, as far as I'm aware, they've kind of always lived around Cambridge. But I honestly know so little about my dad's side. So really, anything's possible.
Jonnie wants to start by finding out more about his maternal grandfather, who was a keen footballer.
So this is my mum's house, and I just thought that she'll be able to tell me a lot more about my granddad, John Roberts. Who did he play for? You know, how good was he?
Jonnie's mum, Linda, lives in the village of Doddington near Cambridge, but she was born in Liverpool.
Hello.
Hello, darling.
How are you?
Oh, good. This is a photo of my dad and my mum, and I think that's when they got engaged. He was 24, so he was your
My
age.
yeah.
Don't know if you've seen this before. I don't think...
No, I've never seen that before. What's
No.
that?
Well, this is a photo album that my nan put together. But can you see my dad in that photo?
He's a young chap.
Yeah.
I want to say, maybe. Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, he was only little.
Yeah, it's even there. So his mum must have been quite proud of him to put this together.
If you look at this...
8th hat-trick for Roberts, 7 goals last Saturday. Roberts nets 11. Oh, wow. Jonnie Roberts, the league's leading marksman, took his aggregate to date to 63 goals. If Roberts continues as he started, a new astronomical record can be anticipated.
Well, here, he's up to 91 and his closest rival's up to 62.
So he only needs 5 more goals from his last 3 games to beat the league record. I did not realise that. He was obviously very good.
He was scouted by Leeds.
Leeds back then.
A scout from Leeds turned up and knocked on my nan and granddad's door to ask my dad to come for a trial at Leeds. And my granddad told the bloke where to get off.
Did he ever find out about it? Did he know?
Yeah, he
Guess
knew.
he not have a choice. Dad wouldn't let him.
My granddad was a force to be reckoned with. That's
actually granddad.
That's granddad.
What was his name?
Edward.
Edward Roberts.
Yeah, Eddie. He was a tiny little fella, but he was a docker, he was a strong man. He would have thought, if my dad can get an apprenticeship, you know, as a painter and decorator, it's a trade.
Okay, yeah. That must have been so hard, yeah, though, like, obviously having that opportunity. And
Have them knock on your front door. I think it's so sad. If you're able to find out more, that'd mean a lot.
The scrapbook was really interesting. I think you hear stories about Grandad and what he'd done with his football career, but actually seeing it written down, seeing the facts and the figures, it seemed like he was a really prolific goal scorer. It looked like he had a lot of promise. Obviously, having that opportunity to have a lead scout come as well and having your parents decide that that's not for you, that's going to be really tough. But I just want to know how good he was.
Johnny's heading to the northwest to find out more about his grandfather's potential as a footballer.
Oh, he's missed it. Oh no. Terrible mistake. Oh, and he has a touch.
Johnny's meeting local football expert Barry Lenton.
I've got a photo of your granddad,
do you?
Johnny, here, which I think you might like to see.
Oh wow. Was that here?
I'm trying to identify. It may well have been over there where the houses are, and the wall, brick wall.
That's a really good photo.
Barry's discovered that John Roberts played amateur football for Lancashire club Burscough FC in 1961 when he was 24. Back then, local teams attracted big crowds of loyal fans.
You can imagine 400, 500, 600 people cheering him on.
Really?
Barry's found further information about the season when John Roberts was scoring all the goals mentioned in the family scrapbook.
I found this press cutting from May the 3rd, 1957. Your granddad was playing for a team called the Saints, St Elizabeth's.
Their remarkable goal scoring has been due, in the main, to the deadly marksmanship of their centre forward, Johnny Roberts, whose present total of 131 goals shattered the record of Colin Vizard. Oh wow, so he did break the record.
Yeah, he broke it.
He smashed it.
It's an amazing statistic, isn't it? 131 goals in one season at any level.
At any level, yeah.
I mean, even Wayne Rooney would have struggled to have scored 131 goals.
It's
For
ridiculous.
one club in one season.
Full of so much potential. Whatever happened?
I've got some more information for you on that.
Roberts, who played towards the end of last season and caught the eye of a number of Football League scouts, has had a trial for Leeds. Oh, did he? So he did go and have a trial for Leeds, and this was 61, so he would have been, what?
24.
24, and he went and had a trial at Leeds. So when he was younger, he had a scout from Leeds come to his house where his dad told him where to go and said no. So after all of that, they come to him when he was an adult and he had a trial. How did he get on?
I don't know about that. There's no records. But at the time, professional footballers weren't getting as much pay as they are now.
So he had a good job, good money coming in.
Yeah.
He didn't think it was worth risking
Yeah,
because they just weren't paid enough.
no.
So he was still being a painter and decorator, but he still loved playing football, so he had to do it somewhere.
Yeah,
And he come here. He could have been the Jamie Vardy.
it could have been.
It is a big shame that I never got to meet him, and I think we would have really got on. I was football mad growing up, so talking to him about all what he'd done in the football careers, I would have probably loved that.
John Roberts died aged 56 in 1992, the year before Johnny was born. He's buried in Bootle Cemetery in Liverpool. This is the first time Johnny's been here.
I guess this will be him with the football boots. 137. Don't tell me that's the amount of goals that he scored in a season. So So he did quite well then, I guess, that season. Beat the Italy by, what, 11? It's no mean feat. So he could have been incredible, I think, and maybe in another life, you know, if one or two things had gone the right way, it could have been him. At sport, we all know that, you know, that's the same with me. If one thing had gone differently, I don't think I'd have achieved anything that I'd achieved, and I think it's the similar thing for him. But his dad thought he needed a trade. But, you know, from my perspective, that stuff can always wait. You know, you can always find your way into a trade at some point, but sport has a time period, it has an expiry date. I love that they got the golden boots.
Jonnie wants to investigate the family story that his great-grandfather Edward prevented his grandfather John from becoming a professional footballer.
It does make you want to know more about Edward specifically. You know, why did he stop his son doing something he so clearly loved and showed so much promise in?
All Jonnie knows about Edward Roberts is that he was a docker from Liverpool. He's come to the docks with a copy of his great-grandfather's birth certificate to try and find out more.
Name and surname of father, Isaac Roberts. So that would have been my great-great-grandfather. A name of mother, X, the mark of Annie Roberts. Why is there an X there? Is that meant to be a signature? The occupation of Isaac, he was a dock labourer. So Edward grew up to be just like his dad. When and where born? 27th of March 1910 on 12 Haddock Street. 12 Haddock Street. I wonder if we can find that house. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Jonnie.
Hi, Jonnie. I'm Sally Sheard.
Jonnie's arranged to meet historian Sally Sheard in Bootle, close to where Isaac and Edward once lived.
We're heading down towards the River Mersey.
Okay. So are we going to the street that they live now?
Yes.
So this is Haddock Street.
This is Haddock Street.
This is where they would have lived. What happened?
Bits of it got bombed, other bits then got knocked down after the Second World War and cleared, and they made it into an industrial estate.
They just cleared all the houses to make room.
Yeah. This is what the houses look like.
I love the cat.
They were 4-roomed houses, 2 up, 2 down, and then at the back you'd have had an outdoor loo.
Okay, yeah.
No bathroom inside.
No. They just live 2 minutes away from where you worked.
2 minutes from where you worked.
By the turn of the 20th century, Liverpool boasted some of the most advanced docks in the world, but they relied on cheap and often unskilled labour. Dockers like Isaac and Edward would have been casual workers, earning poor wages with no guarantee of work and no holiday or sick pay. Dock workers' families were packed into slum housing close to their place of work. Sally has found documents relating to when Jonnie's great-great-grandfather Isaac and his son Edward lived on Haddock Street.
This is from 1911 census.
So this would have been when Edward was 1 year old.
Yeah.
Head of the family, Isaac Roberts, and that will be Anne, his wife.
Yeah.
Total children born alive, 8. So they had 8 children.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. They had 4 that died.
Yeah. Within 2 years, by 1913, another of their children had died. So they lost 5 out of their 8 children.
Jeez.
So this was one of your great-grandfather's brothers. This was George Roberts.
This is a death certificate. 13 months old.
Yeah.
Cause of death, diarrhea and teething. 7 weeks. They died from.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that in Liverpool, kids were dying of diarrhea and teething issues.
Yeah.
You don't really think about it. You don't really associate that with
No.
this country. You know, something so almost normal.
George died in September, and we know that in the summer months, in the hot months, there'd have been lots of flies around, and that's the sort of thing that would have probably caused outbreaks of infantile diarrhoea. You can also see from here that they were a poor family because it says X, the mark of Annie Roberts' mother. So she can't write, she's illiterate.
Oh, so that's what that means. She can't read or write.
Yeah.
Johnny's great-grandfather, Edward Roberts' 5 brothers and sisters, all died from diseases linked to poverty and still fatal in Britain at the turn of the 20th century, like gastroenteritis, typhoid, tuberculosis, and bronchitis.
Why is it that they're getting all of these diseases?
It comes down to wealth, Johnny.
Yeah.
It's that inequality, it's the poverty of this family. Well, this was a really poor part of Liverpool. It's known as Brutal Bootle.
Really?
And there's no national health service.
I can't imagine going through that. What that must have been like for them as parents to see 5 of their 8 children die.
Your great-granddad was one of the lucky ones.
Yeah.
So I've got a bit of better news for you now.
Oh, this is the marriage certificate for my great-grandparents, Edward and Mary.
Yeah, that's right.
So when was this?
This was 1932.
He would have been 22.
Yeah, he's 22.
And she's 21.
She's 21. He's marrying Mary Catherine Murphy. And if you look here, it's got Edward's occupation.
Dock labourer. Dock labourer already.
Yeah.
Her father was a dock labourer as well.
Can you see what it says underneath each of those names?
Oh, is that deceased?
Yeah. It's both Edward and Mary, aged 22 and 21. They both lost their fathers when they got married.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's not something you'd associate with being 20.
No. I've got one final thing.
Okay. So this is a death certificate
Yeah.
of Isaac, aged 50. And what did he die from? Accident. What is that?
Can you read that?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, that says anthrax.
Anthrax, accidentally contracted while working on board a ship. I don't know much about anthrax, and I don't know how you can accidentally catch it. I want to find out why he died.
John is hoping historian Helen Doe can help him.
I know that my great-grandfather accidentally caught anthrax unloading a ship.
In 1928, there was a ship called the SS Burgundy. And this is a photograph of the SS Burgundy. And that actually was the ship that we know that your great-great-grandfather was working on.
What kind of goods was the Burgundy carrying?
Well, we've got the Customs Bill of Entry for 1928.
Oh yeah, we have the Burgundy. 840 tons of maize, 800 bags, 2,300 tons of wheat, and 702 bags of bones, and 428 bags of hooves and piths, and over 1,000 bags of dried blood. Now, why would they have been carrying dried blood and bones?
Much of this material is going to be used as fertiliser.
They would have used dried blood and bones for fertiliser?
We still do today.
Really? They would have had to have handled that. So they would have had to have manually picked up bags of
Yes.
dried blood. So could the kinds of things that my great-grandfather was unloading, like the blood and the bones, be associated to him contracting anthrax?
It's quite possible. There were all sorts of illnesses that you might pick up from the various cargoes.
John has come to the Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine to meet medical doctor Nick Beeching. The school was founded in 1898 to help understand diseases entering Liverpool through the docks.
Now, I don't really know much about anthrax. Obviously, I've heard of it, but I only really think about it in the kind of TV where they use it as like biological warfare.
Well, you're absolutely right. It has been used as a terror weapon and has been used in recent times. So before the Second World War, various countries, including Britain, I'm afraid to say, were weaponising it because it's a disease of animals as well as people. And there were plans at one stage to drop infected cattle cake over Germany.
Really?
Unfortunately, they never used it, but they did test it on an island off Scotland called Grenard Island.
In 1942, top-secret military trials tested the impact of an anthrax powder bomb on captive sheep. Anthrax is a disease that affects livestock, like sheep and cattle. It can be passed on to humans in the form of spores, which live in infected hides, wool, meat, and bones.
If it's scratched into the skin, it causes skin disease. If you inhale it, it causes lung disease. And if you swallow it, it causes gut disease. This is a report from the newspaper around the time of your great-great-grandfather's inquest.
A verdict of death from anthrax was returned at the inquest of Liverpool yesterday on Isaac Richard Roberts. His widow said he did not complain of being ill until a week ago, when he showed her a pimple under the chin. It was stated that Roberts had worked from February 21st to the 24th on board a vessel which had come from South America. As far as I remember, it had bones, dried blood, all the leftover bits from an animal, so I'm assuming that that's how he caught it.
I would think so. I mean, bone meal and all of the blood and everything, all that was always known to be risky and infectious.
So how would it have been having anthrax? What would have happened to him?
Well, I've got a picture of a patient very similar to what would have been happening to your great-great-grandfather. You know, it starts a little pimple, nothing different from any other pimple, but then after a couple of days, it starts to feel unwell and get a big blister, because this bug produces lots of poisons that cause a lot of swelling. And together with that, he would have had the blood poisoning as well. So it would have progressed from that little pimple over a week or so up to this sort of thing. He would have been sent to Fazakerley Hospital. That was the big isolation hospital for Liverpool. And that's where they specialised in looking after infectious diseases, including anthrax.
Also, it was actually quite manageable.
This was in the days before we had any antibiotics, but they had some treatments at about the time he had it, and that pushed the death rate down to about 10% or less.
So if the death percentage was so low, how was it that Isaac, my great-great-grandfather, managed to be one of those unlucky ones?
This is a report of all the admissions to Fazakerley Hospital over 5 years with anthrax. Your great-grandfather is here, number 27.
50, male, dock labourer, days in on admission, 7. So he would have felt ill for a week before, which is a lot more. It's the most on this list. Everyone's come in 2, 3, 4 days feeling the symptoms, but he'd lasted 7, which I guess shows how tough he would have been. Moribund on admission, what's that?
Moribund is a rather old-fashioned way of saying almost dead.
Really?
It means you're really flat and pretty near the end. He obviously tried to stick it out for as long as he could. You could speculate that if he went in earlier, like these other people, that the outcome might have been better.
It just raises more questions.
It does, yes.
Why did he not go to hospital?
Well, he was a docker, and if you don't work, you don't get paid. So he would have probably wanted to do everything possible to keep out of hospital.
That's crazy. He just pushed himself.
John is come to Tragically Hospital, where Isaac Roberts was admitted 7 days after falling ill.
City of Liverpool, Tragically Hospital. This section intended for the treatment of infectious diseases other than smallpox.
Isaac's treatment here came too late.
So he died 4 hours after being admitted here. It's really sad. You know, he clearly pushed himself so hard. I've really learnt a lot that I didn't expect. Isaac was so unlucky. I think he was also so tough because he walked around for a week with anthrax. It was silly, but it was also a sign of the person that he was. And I guess that he just wanted to probably get back to work, get back to normal. And, you know, obviously anthrax was a blood poisoning disease. What I had when I was 5 was a blood poisoning disease, but luckily we were 100 years later and we had the NHS. But that just shows you how far, I guess, the country has come, you know, and yeah, how lucky I was. That Edward, he lost over half of his brothers and sisters. You know, he lost his father. That was why he was such a tough, hard man. And that's why he wanted my granddad, John, to have a trade. And a painter and decorator at that point was a pretty good trade. You know, it was a step up from where he come from. So I think he wanted the best for his family, and I think it's completely understandable him kind of standing in his way in the football sense. The family's come a long way, and I think a lot of that has to do with Edward and how he pushed John to a better life.
Johnny now wants to explore the paternal side of his family, who all come from around Cambridge.
I really don't know much about that side at all. It's never something that we've talked about too much. So my granddad on my dad's side, David, I guess, is probably the person that I think will know the most. Hello, Grandad.
Johnny!
How are you? Good to see you.
And you, yes.
So you've got some incredible photographs here.
Who are they all?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all your relations. This is my father when he was a boy. His proper name was John Voss Peacock, but he was always known as Jack. This is my dad's sister, Millicent Voss Peacock. Obviously, these two pictures were taken the same day.
Yeah, with their bikes.
With their bicycles. This is his father, Jacob Peacock. Your great-great-grandfather.
It's very
And this
small.
is his wife, Louisa. Louisa, she's your great-great-grandmother. She looks a bit fierce to me, and she was a bit fierce.
Yeah.
She came from Boston in Lincolnshire, and she was a local school teacher. And this is Louisa with her mother and father in the garden. And her mother's surname was Voss. And there's a story here. We think that her mother wanted to carry on the family name.
Oh, really?
So when Jacob and Louisa had children, for every child that they had and they named Voss, she gave them £100.
Really?
Yes, yes.
So they must have been quite wealthy then, and obviously, I guess they must
Well,
have...
in 1906, when Dad was born, £100 was a lot of money.
Why did they want Voss in their children's name so badly?
It could be something that Louisa wanted, or it could be something that her mother wanted. That is something I don't know.
Johnny's granddad doesn't know the first name of Johnny's great-great-great-grandmother, only that she wanted her maiden name, Voss, kept in the family. Johnny's come to St Ives in Cambridgeshire to meet genealogist Jill Blanchard and find out more about the Voss line of his family.
So this is the family tree, starting with you at the bottom and then going up through your great-grandparents, your great-great-grandparents, and here we have Louisa Ann Pope, who marries Jacob Peacock. Her mother was Millicent Ann Voss, and she married a John Pope. So this is where your Voss name comes into the family.
Via Millicent.
Via Millicent,
And we
yes,
didn't know that before. Grandad didn't know her name.
And this is the next generation going back.
That's Louisa Voss.
Yes.
My great-great-great-great-grandmother.
You might notice something else here, that Millicent isn't the only child of Louisa.
No, she is one of 4.
Yes, so...
Samuel Voss, George Voss, Emma. I see that she's on her own here. Everyone else seems to have partners.
What you're looking at here is a single woman with 4 illegitimate children.
Really?
So...
She didn't have a husband, or...?
No, she doesn't seem to have ever married.
I mean, that must have been quite unusual back then.
There'd be a lot of pressure on a woman to get married if she fell pregnant when she was still single. To have 4 and still not be married raises quite a lot of questions. Well, we found some interesting things out about Louisa. So I've got a document here. It's a witness statement taken in 1841 relating to the Royal Oak War Boys, which was having its licence revoked.
On the 1st of May, had riotous company, men and women drinking. Susan Taylor, Sarah Thodey and Louisa Voss. Reputed bad characters of war boys. So Louisa has a bit of a reputation.
Yes.
Locally.
Yes, I'm afraid so.
OK. In the wintertime, music is often playing at night at 11 and 12. And the 3 women above in the house.
Yeah, that's an abbreviation.
4 in the house.
What I believe it's an abbreviation for is fornicating.
Right. OK. OK, so she was just having a good time. In winter.
Yeah, and this is one of the reasons. The drinking, the noise and the fornication is why the 3 women were described as reputed bad characters.
That doesn't make you a bad person, does it? You know, you enjoy a drink and
back in
it's a good time.
1841, it was a good enough reason to get your licence revoked in a local pub.
Right, OK. OK, well, I guess then that really does kind of explain the 4 illegitimate children. It gives a bit more clarification as to perhaps how that happened.
Well, I think what you need to do is go to War Boys and find out a little bit more.
Johnny's come to the small Cambridgeshire village of War Boys, where Louisa Voss was living in 1841.
I think Louisa was an interesting character. I think she definitely lived a different life to the norm in the 1840s and 50s. She was drinking and fornicating at the local pub, so it sounds like she was having a good time for herself. So, yeah, I'd like to find out a little bit more about her.
The public house that had its licence revoked still stands and is still called the Royal Oak. Johnny's meeting historian Karen Sayer.
Louisa Voss, my 4 times great-grandmother, was known as being a bit of a character, and there was some incidents in this very pub, and I was hoping that you might be able to shed a bit more light on that.
Yes, we've got some reporting from a policeman here.
On the 28th of April last, there was fighting at the Royal Oak at 11:30 at night, and also on various other occasions there has been fiddling and other music with dancing frequently after 12 o'clock at night, and that drunken men have been often seen coming out and returning again at several different hours in the forenoon. So, drunken men have been often seen coming out and returning again.
Yes.
It's kind of hinting that perhaps this was more than just a pub.
Yeah.
And maybe it was a brothel.
It does seem to be suggesting that, but they're not actually following through and trying to convict any of the women as common prostitutes.
So are there any records of her ever being tried or even mentioned as a prostitute?
Not as a prostitute, and we can't say for definite that she never acted as a prostitute, because somebody who's just trying to scrape a living, they might turn the odd trick or two just to try and keep things going, but not a record to show for definite that she's doing that. Having said that, because she is of bad character, she is only able to get the worst kind of work, which means seasonal day labour. And we do have some records connected to that.
Okay.
We found her in the census records as working as an agricultural labourer. So for this area around Warboys, that really would have meant working in an agricultural gang.
Okay.
They were not thought of as being particularly good forms of work or good ways in which to work. And there was a big scandal about them. And we have a newspaper report here which is about that.
There appeared a letter from a gentleman who, while travelling through agricultural district, had been much shocked by seeing a number of young girls working in a field under the direction of a man armed with a whip, which he was observed to use upon the back of one of the girls. So you say that Louisa was
Yes.
in a gang like this, so she would have been whipped by...
It's possible. By the middle of the century, well, 1865, this report, we have them being referred to as white slaves because it looks like they're slave gangs of the sort that were being used in America.
So a gang would mostly consist of a man with a group of women or children?
And children.
Women
So-
and
children mixed together, yeah. We have some further description.
Under no better supervision than that of an equally ignorant and undisciplined and often drunken and brutal ganger, must necessarily have a demoralising tendency. So the ganger, I'm assuming, is the gangmaster?
Yeah, that's right. A lot of the gang masters do seem to have been really very mean, at the least. Some of them actually actively cruel. There are reports that say that some of the gang masters basically, they take the girls off and have their way with them. But the thing that the commentators seem to focus on is the moral effect of the work. This idea of it being demoralising. Then the word, it sort of changed its meaning. So now, if you demoralise, you're a bit fed up, yeah? But in that period, it literally meant you had been stripped of your morals. You had become less moral because you were engaging in field labour in an agricultural gang.
Really, it sounds like working in these gangs almost changes these women. You know, it changed possibly Louisa.
We've got a few more records.
Okay.
Yeah.
James Hull of Warboys charged Sarah Thodey and Louisa Voss with unlawfully entering a ground and taking therefrom about a bushel of potatoes and some carrots, fined 10 shillings each. Now, what's a bushel of potatoes?
It's about 3 bags of potatoes that you get at the supermarket today.
Okay, so she was fined 10 shillings. What would that have been worth to her?
Well, if she was able to get roughly £5 a year, it's going to be about 10% of her wages.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's That's a lot of
That's
money
a
to
lot
be
of money.
fined.
Yeah.
So what would happen if she couldn't pay the fine?
We don't find her landing up in jail, so she must have been able to pay it off somehow. But it must have been a massive challenge to her.
And to be fair, why wouldn't you steal a sack of potatoes and some carrots from perhaps the man who has been, dominating you all day, and you can't let up, that you're hungry.
Yeah, and there are good arguments to say that some of these subsistence crimes were actually a form of protest. They were actually quite deliberately having a go and getting back at the people who were exploiting them.
So what happened to Louisa after all of this?
Well, we have birth certificate.
So this was the first birth of, is this Emma? It's got her father's name here. So this is William Gadsby.
You'll notice they're not married.
Yes.
So this is, in the terms of the period, an illegitimate child.
Do we know any more about Emma?
We do.
1844, so 2 years later, and it's a death certificate. Measles, 6 days.
It's about the second most common cause of death at this time.
And there's nothing, I guess, Louisa could have done for that.
No. But it's...
So she's not having a very good life right now, is she?
No.
This is 1844. I know that she had 4 children. Do we have any more?
We do. We have a certificate here.
This is, a birth certificate in 1845. George. And there's no name of father.
No.
So I guess it remains to be seen whether it's the same father for all of her 4 children. I'm guessing it probably wasn't. Being involved in that gang, there's a good chance that she could have been treated quite poorly by the gangmaster, maybe even abused by him. And that's why she was acting what was deemed inappropriate back then. She can't have been that bad. There must be more to this story.
Historian Samantha Williams has been searching for records of Louisa Voss at the archives in Huntingdon.
So we've got one here, and you might want to have a look at what it says on the cover.
Bastards after birth. Application of the mother after the birth of the child. So what is this?
So this is an application to the magistrates' court to get maintenance from the reputed father of an illegitimate child. So it's like a very early child support agency.
Okay.
And Louisa made an application.
All right, so Louisa was trying to get money from the father.
Father, that's right.
For George.
For George. And then we have some evidence here.
George, is that George?
That's right.
George Ferry. And
George Ferry, also of War Boys.
So he was the father?
He was the father.
So she named her son after him?
Yes, she did. This is Louisa's testimony.
Louisa Voss, sworn to her session in the presence of Mr. George Ferry. I first went weeding for George Ferry. So he was her boss?
That's right, yeah.
So I went weeding and hoeing, and the first...
This will be sort of criminal connection, which means having sex.
Right, OK. Took place when going home one night. I met him when, with Eliza Darley, defendant then put his arm around my waist and took me away. It does beg a lot of questions, whether what their relationship was like. Was it willing?
Certainly an interesting power dynamic, perhaps there.
He was essentially paying her. Well, he was paying her wage.
Her wages, yeah. She's in a precarious position.
I paid a doctor with money defendant gave me various times. He has been to see me since I was confined. So this is her trying to prove...
that George Farley is the father.
Yes.
So you can see that she's provided evidence in terms of that he's provided money, which would suggest he's accepting some responsibility. And then she's brought a witness.
Eliza Darley came with me today intending to give evidence on my behalf. She was spoken to by defendant and has now absented herself. So she had somebody to come and give some evidence.
That's right.
Who suddenly disappeared after having a chat with George.
That's right. It sounds slightly like intimidation if he said something to her and then she's not given evidence.
That's all bribery.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, do we have any more information on how this case went on?
Yes, we do. So we also have a list here of bastardy cases and their outcomes, all of whom would have had one of these. Yep.
Down here on the 23rd of June.
And then here it tells you whether an order was the result of the application.
But it's blank.
But it's blank. So it's very tantalising.
Yeah.
There's no surviving record of Louisa ever receiving any payment from George Ferry. The next record Samantha's found is from 1853, nearly 8 years later.
See what you make of this.
OK, so this is a birth certificate. Oh, Millicent. Oh, so this is my great-great-great-grandmother.
That's right, yep. So here she is.
Again, no father named.
No.
Did she make another application?
We certainly don't have any records of her going back to the magistrates' court. But we've got something else you might want to take a look at. This is St Ives Workhouse Admission and Discharge Book in 1853, in December. And we've got Louisa, George and Millicent all being admitted to the workhouse.
Oh, OK. So she went with both of them. No work. She's got no job now. She's clearly not got enough money to support her children.
That's right. She's had to take them into the workhouse.
The workhouse building in St Ives, Cambridgeshire, still exists, but has been turned into apartments. Professor Peter Higginbotham is giving Jonnie a tour of the grounds.
I know that in 1853, Louisa, my great-great-great-great-grandmother, was out of work.
Lack of work was one of the main reasons people would end up in the workhouse, particularly in an area like this, an agricultural area where the work was very seasonal. So particularly in the winter, and I think Louisa came in December of the year, a very slack time of the year, and it was, certainly not surprising that there might be no work around.
So actually, it sounds like coming here for her possibly would have even been a step up.
Yeah, certainly in the winter months, no food, no heating. At least, here, you've got 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
You've had a roof over your head, a reasonable bed to sleep in. You had to work to earn that. But, compared to on the outside, the workhouse was actually, for some people, not an unreasonable alternative.
Do we know how long Louisa stayed here?
We certainly do, and we've got the record to tell you that.
What's the date?
So it's February the 16th. This is 1854.
So she was only here for a few months then?
A couple of months, yeah, not very long at all.
So what did she go on? Did she have a job? Do we know?
We don't know. There's a column here, how discharged, and own request.
So she's requested herself to leave?
So she's just decided to leave. That could be because she's heard of work, maybe.
So did she ever come back?
Not as far as we know.
OK.
The next thing we know about her is actually 5 years later, in 1859.
A birth certificate, and this is for Samuel. And there's no name of the father on this one either.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any indication at all of who that could be, or...?
Yeah. There's a possible candidate in the running. If we move forward a year now to 1860, and down at the bottom here.
John Howarth of Warboys, labourer, was summoned by Louisa Voss of Warboys, single woman, for assaulting her. It's
quite brief, unfortunately. So basically, Louisa had taken this man, John Howarth, to court for some kind of assault. We know nothing about, their relationship, whether this was a punch-up in a pub or, whether they were actually involved in a relationship and, it was kind of possibly some kind of domestic violence. Unfortunately, we don't really know anything else about this John Howarth character.
Do we not?
Other than, he featured in her life quite soon after the birth of Samuel. So possibly they were in some kind of relationship and possibly he was the father.
But I mean, what from me it shows is that Louisa is clearly quite a strong, independent woman. She's not afraid to take somebody to court. You know, this is the second time that she's taken somebody to court that we've found. So I think for me, this just speaks of her independence and her fire, I think, and her will. That she's not going to let somebody get away with something.
Jonnie wants to know what happened to Louisa and her children after they left the workhouse. He's returned to nearby Warboys village.
Hi, I'm Jonnie.
Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Nicola.
Historian Nicola Verdon has suggested they meet at the local parish church.
I've got a document here that will tell you the next part of the story.
So this is a marriage certificate, and this is Millicent Voss.
Your 4 times great-grandmother's daughter.
I'm guessing that says John Pope. Warboys. So is that in this church?
Yeah.
Oh, so they got married in this church. So my great-great-great-grandmother and grandfather were married here.
In this church, yeah.
So we're probably sitting within a couple of feet from where they got married. That's really cool.
Yeah. If you look along the document a little bit more, you can see the father's name and surname.
So Millicent's put her father's name as illegitimate.
It's an interesting label to put on an official document.
So in this time, even if you were illegitimate, you probably wouldn't put it on your marriage certificate.
Yeah,
you'd hide it.
You'd hide it. You'd make a name up.
So it was actually quite a bold move then, yeah, for Millicent to almost be proud of the fact that she was...
Yeah, and certainly not ashamed of the label.
I guess that really speaks about how she was brought up and how she was raised. She clearly respected her mother a lot.
Yeah, and think about the venue, a church in the village.
This was the same village that her mother was a reputed bad character.
Right. Millicent is saying something there,
yeah.
Isn't she? You can imagine Louisa sat here where we are, watching the ceremony.
Yeah. What I know about Millicent is that obviously she didn't come from money, but she suddenly had money to give to her daughter Louisa to carry the name Voss forward.
Right.
So I'm assuming that she's actually married someone who come from quite a good background.
Well, he's described here as labourer.
Okay.
So that suggests he comes from a similar working background.
So at what point did the money come into them?
So this is a census return.
Okay.
The year is 1881.
Okay, so this is 8 years after the marriage.
Yeah.
Is that John Pope?
That's the one, yeah.
And Millicent. And is that Louisa?
Yeah, so their daughter, Louisa. But look at where they're living.
Oh, in Boston.
So Boston, Lincolnshire.
Oh, yeah. My granddad mentioned that Louisa, moved down from Boston to Cambridgeshire to become a teacher. Okay. Boston, why did they move to Boston then? It
was probably for work. We know from later documents that John Pope was actually a carter.
Okay, what's that?
So that was somebody who worked specifically with horses. Men with horse skills would have been well sought after. In fact, we know that a few years on from here, he's actually an employer of other people.
Oh, so he became the boss?
Yes.
He's worked his way up?
Yeah, he's working his way up the hierarchy.
Oh, really? So that's obviously, so that must be where the money came from, through John Pope's hard work?
Yes.
Oh, that's really nice. Yeah. I like that.
If we look at the same census record, still in Boston, see if you can spot another familiar name.
I see Voss, but is that Laura?
It looks like she's called Laura in this document, but we know for sure that that is Louisa, your 4 times great-grandmother.
That's Louisa Voss?
So Millicent's mother has also moved to Boston.
Oh, really? With them? Why was she called Laura then?
It might have been a simple mistake, transcription mistake by the census enumerator. We don't really know. We've got an additional document to show you.
So this is her death certificate.
Yeah, the date is 1885.
Oh, so she died of breast cancer.
Died of breast cancer.
It's really like, it's weird, it's like sad, it's like it's ended, but she...
But the name lives on.
I don't know why I'm getting like emotional. I'm getting, yeah, I didn't get emotional before, I don't know why. But...
She's a woman who you didn't want to be put down by anybody.
No, and I think, I don't know if I draw like comparisons to almost myself in that she's quite fiery and she's very strong-willed, and she's obviously passed that down to Millicent.
Yeah, and she's not afraid to take people on.
I really didn't expect that. When I first learned about Louisa having 4 illegitimate children, you just think she's a young woman who's just a bit wild. But then you learn more about her and you learn that she was involved in this gang and she lived a really tough life. And she always seemed to come back, you know, whatever she did, she always seemed to come back. And she wasn't afraid at getting in men's faces. And back in the 1850s, you know, standing up to men was no mean feat. And she was not afraid. You know, she took 2 men to court. She was before her time, really.